The Diabetes Nerd podcast is proud to be sponsored by the Eversense 365-day implantable continuous glucose monitor brought to you by Essentia Diabetes Care. I've been using the Eversense CGM since April of 2025, and I love it. It's the only CGM device that lasts a year. The sensor was placed just under the skin on my arm. The transmitter sits on my skin with this silicone adhesive, and I can take it on and off. I love it. Learn more about Eversense 365 at eversensecgm.com. Welcome to the Diabetes Nerd podcast. I am your host, Ginger VIEIRA. I have lived with diabetes for about 26 years, but I ain't got nothing on our guest today. Joanne comes today to talk about aging with type 1 diabetes. Welcome, Joanne Milo.
Thank you so much, Ginger. Happy to be here. And nice to meet you. So nice to meet you.
I know. It's like, how have we not met? So for everybody listening, you are going to get to know Joanne while I'm getting to know Joanne. I often have guests on the show that I already know really well, but Joanne she's up to something in the diabetes community. She's doing some really cool things for all of us, and we're going to learn all about it. So Joanne, when were you diagnosed?
I was diagnosed like in the dark ages, 1965. So in January, it'll be 61 years with T1D, which is plenty. And I've tried to give it back to somebody, but no one will take it back. So I guess I'm stuck with it. Yeah.
So congrats on 65 years. My goodness. I mean,
congrats on just
surviving the first 60 years. Okay.
Yeah. You know, I look back at it, and it truly was the dark ages. We had literally no technology, and urine testing, and great ways to cheat it as if that was useful, and teenager, and all the wrong things. But I seem to have survived it. So I feel very, very fortunate. So that was the time, that was the age when my parents were told I wouldn't live past age 40.
Okay.
So when I scooted through 40, I went, I guess they were wrong. And so many of my peers who are long-term T1Ds heard the same thing. Yes. And it's sobering, and it's just a gratitude point. I mean, we're fortunate.
Yeah. I mean, I just heard a fact the other day, and I mentioned this on an earlier podcast episode, but I want to know what you think of it. I was interviewing one of the lead kidney organ transplant surgeons on the planet, Dr. Charles Bratton, and he said that most people with type 1 diabetes who have had type 1 diabetes for at least 20 to 25 years are in kidney failure. And to me, it was like, what? I know so many people who've had type 1 for 25 plus years who are not in kidney failure or even any stage of kidney disease, right? But he's talking about the general population of people. And
that's an interesting statistic.
I mean, so many people who don't have access to basic health care. And then we meet someone like you who's had it for 60 years. You're certainly not in dialysis.
I'd probably ask definition of kidney failure. Is it meaning your labs or not?
No. I asked. Yeah. I'm a journalist, Joanne. I asked. He meant on dialysis. Yeah.
Really hard to grasp that one. I do believe many of us have kidney dysfunction.
Of course.
Right. And I think many of us have varied amounts of nerve damage that are of my generation.
Especially if you were diagnosed when you were diagnosed and you could not manage. I mean, there's no way your A1C was under 7 in the 70s.
My first A1C was, oh my gosh, I think it was over 12. Okay. And I didn't even know what that meant.
Yeah, so, it wasn't even a thing that was regularly monitored because you couldn't do anything about it.
No, I can remember blood sugars in the 500s when I was in college. I don't know
Mm.
how I did as well as I did, but
Wow. Yeah.
you know, and I think those of us who are living this long are somehow tough. Somehow we've barreled through the stuff that we couldn't manage as well as we can today.
Mm. Yeah. Your body also some kind of endurance genes, right?
You can't kill us, I guess,
Yeah.
apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean, I think someone once asked me if there's anything good about T1D, and knowing my family genetics, I think I've learned a lot about nutrition and self care that my family doesn't even know for
for
themselves.
sure. Yeah.
And so it taught me that, and certainly a level of discipline. And I think those of us living this long certainly have organization skills. We have to
Mm.
figure out how to buy
Mhm.
supplies and just keep on top of so many things.
Yeah.
It's quite a juggling act.
Do you think that, I mean, so I think about some of older people that I'm very close to and, in their 70s and 80s and early 90s. So let's say, yeah, and some of them can kind of mentally check out, right? Because they don't, but you can't really, if you have type 1 diabetes, like we're on alert since age 13, right? So
hmm
I'm curious, at your age, and how old are you today, Joanne?
I am 71.
Okay.
Makes no sense to me, but I'm 71.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
I guess.
Do
Thank you.
you, when you're around your peers, people without diabetes who are your age, do you feel like there's a noticeable difference in the amount of mental attention that you have to give to your self-care still compared to can you see it?
I know how much awareness I have, and I know how. I'm really only just beginning to realize how much attention I pay to it. Um, I talk to my husband frequently about it and say, "I'm sorry, I guess I just trumped all of the discussions because I looked at my data."
Mm.
And it's an awareness that I have.
Mhm.
I think my peers are probably people I choose who are also functioning well. So they're all kind of functioning at a certain
Okay.
level. So
Yeah.
I don't
You've
notice that
attracted people as friends who are caring for their
that
health
take
and
care
want
of
to live.
themselves.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Versus giving up and just riding it on the lazy
Those
boy
people make me a
recliner.
little sad. I just
Yeah.
we have choices and we can do things. They're not always easy, but I have this sense that I just want to be as happy as I can be and feel as well as I possibly can.
Mm.
And so I'm kind of willing to put out the extra effort and feel bad for people that just don't even have that awareness.
Yeah, who don't. So I heard a quote from Buddhism recently, and I probably won't get it exactly perfect, but I'm curious on how this really. I know this has been a big part of your success in thriving with type 1. And the quote is something to the tune of, all suffering comes from trying to resist what is. So basically, that anger of I have type 1 diabetes and I'm mad about it versus, right, accepting it and going with it and embracing the challenges and doing the best you can. Can you tell me, throughout your 60 years with type 1, have you gone through phases of denial, of resistance?
Good question. College was difficult. High school was probably more difficult. And my rebellion was, and looking back, wasn't rebellion. I know there are rebellions. I didn't do that because I had this inner sense that I could rebel and then I would feel bad and then I would get sick and I would pay the price. So
Right.
it wasn't worth it to
Yeah.
me. So my rebellion was if I got to school in high school late and there wasn't a good parking space, I would go to the beach. So it was just, that was my big rebellion. And, I didn't have enough days to actually graduate, but they graduated me anyway. And I showed them, but it was all fine. And I don't think I had a good handle on food, and certainly didn't know carb counting, and came from a family that had serious food disorders. So I was rewarded with candy, but not intentionally. But my mom was so stressed. That's how she took care of her anxiety, and we would share it. And I look back at it, or I tell friends, and they say, "She did what?" Well, it wasn't intentional. It was her way of coping. And I was also raised in a religion that doesn't allow medicine. And the day I was diagnosed, it was, uh-oh, something's going to change. And that was an interesting time in my life. I would not want to repeat that part. But
Was there a
we
reluctance
survived it.
to give you medicine? Were your parents reluctant?
My parents were not, but suddenly we weren't going to church anymore. Suddenly we weren't. I wasn't in Sunday school, and my Sunday school friends said, "Well, you're going to die." And so I thought, I don't want to be friends with those people anymore. But you lose that connection, and I certainly did, and certain members of my family didn't, and then would preach to me that I just didn't believe enough. So there was a tough teenage time, being told by family members that I just didn't have enough faith. And I argued and I discussed with them, and then I had to walk away from their discussions. It's just, you don't make sense to me, and you do you, I'll do me.
Yeah, I mean, and here you are face to face with a condition that could kill you in a heartbeat if you allow it
It
to.
was disruptive. It was disruptive to the family order.
Yeah, and
I'm
all
so
their
sorry
belief
they didn't
system.
handle it better. But
Yeah,
I hear that story a lot.
yeah.
That's
Okay,
tough. Yeah.
okay. So, just for people who are listening, I just want to make sure everybody knows that for the first really 20 years for sure, 20 to 30 years of your life with type 1, you couldn't really check your blood sugar at all. You had strips, paper strips to pee on that would give like a general color of what your blood sugar might have been hours ago. You had one type of insulin for a
I
while.
had two types, and they were all animal. There was beef and there
Pork
was
and
pork
yeah.
insulin.
Okay.
I
Did they
had
have a long-acting
test.
insulin back then?
It started to come in, but initially I was NPH and regular,
Okay.
and which caused lots of skin damage. But I had Clinitest, which were test tubes. I mean, it was like a little science experiment, and the way you cheat that is you don't put as many drops of urine. You shake the tube before the chemistry is done, and you get, you put it against the chart, and you have good numbers.
So you're trying to
Um,
cheat something that's already so inaccurate. That's so
it's
funny.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean, you had to pee, get rid of that, and then void again, which was a talent I didn't necessarily have, but developed it, because otherwise you were testing 4-hour urine or 3-hour urine. So it was full of whatever. Um, I got one of the first glucose meters. It was a reflectance meter, was called the Ames iTone reflectance meter in 1970. It was $500, no insurance. And my parents heard about it. We bought it. Also inaccurate, it was a pin dial.
Oh,
And you put it on a strip, you blotted it. How hard you blotted it gave you lower results. Um, but it was better than urine testing. It was this clunky machine. I still have it. And it was heavy. It had to be plugged in and warmed up. But it was better. It was an improvement. And I took it to college. And within my first year, I think, LifeScan came out with their little portable meter, 45 seconds till you got the results.
that must have been mind-blowing.
It was because you could carry it with you. You didn't have to be plugged into the wall.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that it wasn't accurate. I had no idea of knowing,
Mm-hmm.
but it was far, far better than what I'd been doing.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's fast forward to today. What kind of technology are you using to manage type 1 today?
I appear to be an early adopter of technology.
Okay, good for you.
So in 2014, I heard about, well, actually, 2006, I went to uh, a presentation on this product called CGM, and it was Medtronic, Abbott, and Dexcom. They didn't have products on the market yet, but they
Mm-hmm.
were talking about it. And I
Oh.
jabbed my husband and I said, that's what I need.
Mm.
And Dexcom was the first one to market of a product that I was willing to try, and I was one of the first in the area. And the VP came and sat in my house, and we stared at each other for 2 hours while it warmed up. And because he wanted to see what the experience was like, and
Um,
they were very, very hands-on, very concerned about their customer base and their patients that they dealt with. It was an
mhm.
extraordinary company at the beginning,
Yeah.
um, and it it was more accurate than what I had been doing with finger sticks.
Mhm.
Um, but at a technology conference, I did call it a random number generator, and I regret having said that very publicly. Um, but it was. And then I switched to the Abbott Navigator, which I loved. It was actually more accurate. And then they were pulled from the market for they had an inability to get supply chain for some part of it.
Mm.
And I heard there was a warehouse full of them in Northern California. And I said, "Can I just go get some? Can I
Oh.
just have your supply?" And I've been on Dexcom ever since. I just recently tested Abbott Libre, but I'm using Dexcom
Okay.
G6 mostly.
Yeah, stay on
With
that G6 till they fix that G7.
I so disappointed,
Yeah.
um, and I use an Anubis transmitter. I was very actively involved in collecting dead transmitters so that we could send them to Australia to be repurposed
Oh,
to be better than the Dexcom transmitters,
interesting.
because they
Okay.
don't time out. You can change the battery.
Anubis. I've never
Pretty
heard of
amazing.
Anubis.
Oh, we'll talk. It's they repurposed them, put new firmware on, and the warm up time is 50 minutes.
So are they
And
taking old Dexcom transmitters and hacking them basically? Oh, okay. Well, I'm currently
welcome to my
wearing the
hacking world.
implantable, I'm wearing the implantable Eversense CGM.
I
I have it in my arm.
I talked to Fran and I said, when you have not on body, I'm in. I will go. I will jump. Do you like
Yeah.
it?
Oh, I love it. It has eliminated all my CGM stress. I don't get the annoying alerts. I don't have the itchy holes in my skin. I don't have the blood and the rashes that I was developing. It just sits on my arm. I forget it's there. And the on-body vibration that the actual device that's on the outside of my arm to alert me when I'm high, it vibrates 3 times. When I'm low, it's 9 times. I don't even need to look at my phone. I can just like feel, oh, three, I just crossed 160. I'm not going to panic.
Do you ever lose connection? It,
It
it's not
really doesn't.
Bluetooth.
Is that you can take it off and just adjust it on your arm and
Mhm.
but I really don't need to do that unless I had it in the wrong place to begin with. But
I
I
think
take
it's
it off when I
amazing.
shower.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Wow.
Um,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. I was talking to someone about that the other day. I'm so close to just not wanting to do what I'm doing anymore. Um, when I talked to Fran Kaufman at Senseonic, she said basically there are very few devices for any medical condition where you puncture the skin and you have open puncture constantly.
Yeah, it's
So
true.
it made so much sense to me, and
Yeah.
the
It's
problems are so
it's
huge.
like
Yeah,
made my skin. I have really sensitive skin. It's made my skin so much happier. I was just dealing with
that's
so
great to hear.
much. Ooh, like I'd put on a new Libre and or Dexcom, and I'd immediately get these bumps these
Mm.
itchy red bumps right around it or right under the adhesive, which I can't even scratch. So,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, but
So yeah, it's probably to me one of the most fascinating technologies that are out there.
yeah, yeah, and it's
So yeah,
evolving
cool.
quickly.
That's very cool.
So I know that people are going to wonder, all right, so how is your health today after 60 years of type 1 and into, I really want people to understand you didn't have perfect blood sugars for all these 60 years, right? You couldn't have. But even if you were diagnosed in the year 2010 and we're 60 years out from that, no one, with what's currently available, no one has perfect blood sugars. Can you
Mhm.
tell us about your health today at
Yeah,
70 years old with type 1 after 60
yeah.
years?
Let me jump back to you. I jumped into technology or open source in 2014 when
Okay.
I heard about Night Scout. I didn't know what
Hmm.
it was, and I wasn't tracking a child, but I thought, cool, just something new. So set up a build with the developers. Everyone showed up, and we put 14 people on Night Scout. Then 2016, I jumped on Loop and have been in the open source community ever since. Around COVID, I started Loop and Learn for the looping community, and
Cool.
um, basically anyone can teach you how to like build a Porsche, but can they teach you how to drive it in
Mm,
rain
right.
and when the engine needs more oil and all the things that we have to deal with? So,
I mean,
um,
there's a lot of people your age who can't even send an email. So you're out here doing DIY looping. Congratulations.
thank you. It's a community. It is not
Yeah.
just me. It
No,
is
no, not
a
at all. But still, your
tremendous
willingness to
community.
even participate and make use of that technology.
I'm so
Is,
grateful for it.
yeah.
It's and it's interesting. My concern was for my husband and the annoyance of the technology, and he does not see it as annoyance. He is so grateful that sometimes when we talk, tears come to his eyes. He's so
Mm.
grateful for the technology and that he can participate with it. So, um,
Has he
yeah,
had his share of supporting you through some scary lows?
he's had his share of everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
His mom was a T1D, and I remember when I
Oh,
first
wow.
met her, I looked at her logbook and I just went, oh, she's not going to be doing well. But there was not much I could do. Um, but he's an engineer and he thinks like an engineer,
Hmm.
which is for the purposes of helping me through this is outstanding.
Yeah.
He has been through me through surgeries where I've been unconscious for days. He
Mm.
has managed 2 CGMs on my body while I was in intensive care.
Oh.
He helps me with putting on pods because I've had neck surgery and can't look down as
Mm.
easily. And we fight a little about placement of where the pods go, but um, he's gotten very good at it. He knows how to use all the technology, and I'm about to start teaching him how to use the vial of glucagon so that if I'm really low and can't really see
Yeah.
the tiny, tiny little vial and the stupid
I
rubber
hope you have
stopper,
the hypo pens instead of the old
I don't
school
like the
glucagon.
hypopens. I use the vial because the hypopens are too
Oh,
much.
okay. Vial
Yeah,
over. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Vial over.
yeah.
Just as long as you're not using the old GEK, the glucose,
Oh no, 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 no,
glucagon
no, no,
emergency kit. Okay. For
no, no.
everybody listening, if you are still keeping that red emergency glucagon kit with you,
Toss it.
there are better forms of glucagon now where they're instant. You don't have to mix things. There's not 7 steps. You just take off the cap, draw some out if you're using the vial or the hypo pen, and give it. So ask your doctor about emergency glucagon modern versions for sure.
I carry it with me. It's in my car. It's in his
Yeah.
car. It's in my nightstand. It's
Yeah, I
everywhere.
have
His
it everywhere
syringes.
too. And when my
Yeah.
business partner, best friend, and I travel, I tell her exactly where it is in my bag. I put it in a
Hmm.
Ziploc bag with a bright yellow note card that says glucagon. So if she is rifling through quickly, she could find it. You
That's a
know.
great idea. I didn't think of
Yeah.
doing that. Thank
So
you.
it's really obvious, right?
Yeah. Well,
Fortunately, she's
if you
not
use the
heavy duty.
vial, it's teeny tiny. Um,
Yeah.
and the plunger is somehow terribly, terribly hard to get through with an insulin
Oh,
syringe, but that's okay.
yeah.
Um, so that's how I manage, and I think I have the best control that I can do, given this disease is basically what I say is an impossible disease to manage. You
Yes.
cannot control this. There are far too many variables for my brain to handle,
Right.
and the technology is so imperfect.
And it's not
Um,
even just your brain to handle. There's so many variables happening in our body that
mhm.
our other hormones are supposed to be compensating for that we aren't regulating properly. I've talked about this before, the other five hormones beyond insulin. And so we got to give ourselves some credit for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also on a GLP-1, and I jumped on about 3 years ago because I read about it and thought, "Huh, I'm missing another hormone."
Yeah,
And
five. And that GLP-1
yeah,
helps you compensate really for
exactly.
most of those five. I take also a micro dose of a GLP-1.
I
It's been
know.
a couple
Yeah,
years. Yeah.
yeah. It I think it's a game changer.
Yeah.
I understand the issues with it significantly, and so if we get into the topic of the aging part, I just attended and participated in a workshop um, at Harvard Joslin for researchers in the T1D and aging space. It's There hasn't been much research,
No, of
but
course.
Dr. Meta Munshi runs the geriatric center at Joslin and has been researching for 20 years in a space that no one even knew was a space
Mm,
of aging in T1D. We just weren't looked at as important or an issue.
yeah.
And we are
Or even candidates
significantly,
for aging for a long time, right? We weren't considered people who even got to age for
no.
decades. Yeah.
And we don't very often have a seat at the table even. The we're not paid attention to. However, we are a fast growing demographic. Um,
Yes.
there are a few people in the community that have lived with this for 80 years. Can you imagine
Wow.
80 years every
Wow.
day?
And
It's
what's
just
most
amazing.
impressive to me about that is not necessarily the last 20 years of their 80 years, but the first 20 years that they survived the 50s with type
Yeah,
1 diabetes.
yeah. It's true pioneers, and to me, they're the absolute epitome of resilience.
Yeah.
Um, because it couldn't have been easy. You just
No.
know it wasn't a smooth ride. It can't
Yeah.
it can't have been.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
I hate when journalists use the word suffering when they say, like, Ginger Vieira has been suffering with diabetes since 1999. But if you were diagnosed in the 40s or 50s, there was truly some suffering. I mean, you had to endure being unwell and having nothing to do to make it better the way we have today.
and we also didn't have community. We
Hmm.
really didn't. We had very little groups. We
Yeah.
certainly had no. We didn't have Zoom. We didn't have the internet. And
Hmm.
I remember when I first got on CompuServe. Oh my gosh! And there was this chat that I had with this guy who was a T1D locally, and oh gosh, I'm actually talking to somebody remotely. It was so
Mm.
revolutionary, and we talked about diabetes for hours.
Oh,
Um, but that didn't exist 40 years ago.
no, right. You're pretty alone.
Really isolated, and it's
Yeah.
an isolating disease anyway.
Yeah. Isolated
Um,
and told you're not going to live past 40 years old. That's a pretty
it's a double
heavy,
whammy. Yeah,
yeah, that's a heavy thing to carry.
yeah. So, how am I doing now?
Yeah, tell us your
Hmm,
secrets.
hmm.
Are you
Um,
eating broccoli every day? Are you on the keto diet? Do you eat fruit? Everybody wants to know, does she eat carbs?
yes, I eat
Does she
carbs.
eat dessert? She eats carbs, everybody. Oh my gosh,
I
please
just
hear that loud
celebrated
and
our
clear.
anniversary, and I ate bread and dessert.
Good for
Um,
you.
and I went home going, "Wow, that was really pretty good." Um, I am not a high carb diet eater. There was a period of time where I went through being a vegan, and I found that to be just boring and tiring. And then I did the Atkins diet for a while and found that fascinating because I could really streamline my blood sugars,
Hmm.
but I just didn't want to eat food.
You can't
Um,
feel healthy when you're doing it, even though your blood sugar's
no,
still stable.
I don't think extremes work for me. They do for
Yeah.
some people,
They
and
actually don't work for nearly anyone. I just interviewed a woman who's been coaching. She's a doctor, an obesity medicine doctor, and she said none of her patients can stick to any of these extreme diets, particularly ultra low carb diets, for more than 3 months. And she's
wow,
not the one putting them on the diets. She's
yeah.
right. She's encouraging a more balanced approach. But we only hear from people during the first 3 months. And then we hear from a few unique people who can do it for years and years.
Yeah.
But the common experience is not that.
No, I think variety in a lot of things in your life are really important. We get to
Yeah.
experience things, so um, I watch people, and when they take photographs and social media of their food plates, and it just kind of gives me the shivers. I just don't want to see their food plates. I don't want to see their dish pattern. I don't want to see their forks and knives. I just don't want to see it. So, but they show it, and they
What's
resonate with
been
each other.
your yeah, people find support in that. What's been your personal food philosophy? What's developed for you, your mindset and approach to food?
Um, and it's probably helped by the GLP-1. Just don't overeat.
Hmm.
Just smaller portions, and but have anything you want. I
Okay. You heard it
um
here, folks. Joanne is not telling you to skip all the carbs or eat the sugar-free jello for the rest of your life. She's saying
had a
portions,
piece of chocolate
reasonable.
last night. My husband said, "What do you
Glad.
want something?" I said, "Yeah, I think I do." Um, you just manage it, and I think the backlash from denying is harder for me.
Yeah.
It may not be for everyone, but
I think it is for a lot though. And people
yeah.
I think part of it is our body naturally knows like I don't want to be on a diet of beef and cheese
Hmm.
only, right?
Yeah.
And the that whole 3 month failure rate might really be your body trying to say, no, 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 I don't want to eat like this.
Hmm.
Please go back to eating more plants.
And I think kind of listening to what you feel like you want to eat. Yeah, your body kind of has some sort of intelligence that says, I think you need this, I think you need that. And every
Yeah.
time I've responded, I do okay.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I personally got to a point where I was like, after a few years of eating really low carb, I was like, I don't want to be in some kind of nutrition law where it's bad to eat an apple. I
mhm,
love apples. I want to enjoy an apple.
mhm,
And, and then I just got to learn how to dose my insulin for an apple. Does it go perfectly every time? No, but I'm not ignoring it for 3 days after, it's like you tend to it as quickly as you can if you
mhm,
didn't get enough and
mhm.
then move on.
Yeah, I just I think that I really do believe this disease is very hard to live with,
Yes.
and I didn't want to say manage, but to live with, and it's unrelenting, and it's variable, and it's uh, capricious. You just don't know,
Mm-hmm.
um, and you do your best to adapt. My latest word is pivot. Whatever my plan is, suddenly I have to change it. Okay, then you
Mm-hmm.
just pivot. And as I age, there's a whole lot of pivoting and twists and turns. And the best you can do is adapt. And
Mm-hmm.
I think I was very fortunate to have a father who had just a killer sense of humor, and he loved to laugh.
Oh,
And I think that has served me well
yeah.
because at some very elevated level, if you took 100 feet up and looked down on all of us, it's all very amusing and a little bizarre, and I can't figure it out. And it's it's like a comedy. I happen to be in it sometimes,
Right.
but I just laughter helps me a whole lot
Hmm.
because it's just uh, otherwise I can't explain it
Yeah,
sometimes.
and when you said the word unrelenting, I think that's really important for people to really see, because then if you know it's unrelenting, then you know you've got to give yourself kind of a break from the expectation of perfection. You've got to
Mhm.
give yourself room for, imperfect numbers, and you've got to give yourself space to step back and not try so hard to eat the
Mhm.
perfect dinner, right? It's
Yeah.
just, if it's unrelenting, there's no human that can just show up
No, you
24 hours
can't
a
hold
day.
your breath that long. You just
No.
can't.
Yeah.
And so uh, it's hard when technology fails. That's probably the hardest thing I deal with. But it is what it is. So I
Hmm.
don't have control of that either.
Right.
I
This
don't
is
run the
why I don't use
companies.
an
I
insulin pump. Yeah.
so
That
yeah,
gives
it's
me a lot of anxiety. Yeah. When
yeah.
that insulin pump fails, or that pump site has a bad day, that's why I don't use one. But well, so also, I mean, I think to get to where you are in your life with type 1 with so much positivity and enthusiasm for your day, right?
Mhm.
Is because of your mindset. If people are wondering, what's the secret to,
I have gratitude. I
yeah,
really
thank you.
am very seriously focused on gratitude.
Hmm.
I can't look around and not be grateful at what I see.
Mm,
Even if it's not my best day, even if things are not going well, it's I'm okay. And if I'm not, I know who to reach out to help me get back on balance.
yeah.
Um, it's the gratitude thing that works for me. Um, the technology may fail, but I'm grateful I have any of it. I know when it was like
Right.
when I didn't. Um, I'm grateful to my husband, and he's a steady force. He's a force, and and he's a challenge, but it's I'm fortunate, and it's not because I am lucky. It's just I see it as a positive, and it steadies me.
Yeah.
And I know I'll get back at some point. I told my husband to say when I'm really kind of struggling, just to tell me it's going to be okay. I said,
Mm,
even if you don't know,
yeah.
just tell
It
me,
is
and if
such
I
a
hear
helpful
it,
phrase. Yeah.
yeah, it's going to
Yeah.
be okay.
That's
Yeah.
such a good point, because as you say that, the first thing I think of is when I was going through a very difficult breakup with a man I thought I was going to be with forever, and my when I was having the hardest month of that, even though I'm the one that chose it, my best friend would say to me, "You are going to get through this." Now, I couldn't see that, but she
Mhm.
could. And knowing that she could, it was like, oh, okay.
It's helpful.
I can
It's
see that. I
terribly.
believe her.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know how smart she is. If she believes this, it's got to be true, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've said to Richard, "I don't believe you, but if you if you have less faith than me, believe it, then
Right.
then I'm gonna go with it because it's the best bet I have."
Yeah. And in
Um,
that same
yeah.
breath, it's also, well, what can I do for myself to help myself in, whether we're talking about a breakup or some kind of difficult medical moment, or,
Mhm.
whatever moment where you were feeling really down and your husband was trying to power you up. It's like, okay, are you choosing, are you making good decisions that also help you move forward versus,
Yeah.
holding back?
I there have been moments, where I've had pain and I've just said, I can't do this." Um, and that causes concern for him. And I say, "Oh, no, no, don't worry. I'm not going to do anything to harm myself um, because the world's too interesting." That's the other part. I'm really very curious about this world.
Yeah, you don't want to miss
Um,
this. Yeah.
no, it's maybe I have FOMO, but I just it, I had a very difficult surgery, and it was in during the election times, and I said, I can't do this anymore. I just cannot do this. And he got very concerned. And I said, "Oh, don't worry. I'm not taking myself out because I got to see how the election turns out. I couldn't write the script for this.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
it's like
my mother
watching."
said the same thing. She's 80, and she was like, she was nowhere near dying, but she always thinks she's going to die next week. And she probably live for another 10 years. But she's like, oh, no, I just want to live long enough to see how the election turns out. I was like,
I just say I can't write this drama. I'm not that
yeah,
good a writer, but
it's so
boy,
intense.
whoever's writing the script is
Yeah.
very creative. and I
Mm.
enjoy that. So
Okay, so
I'm not happy with
curiosity,
it. Yeah,
curiosity and gratitude sounds like some
yeah,
winning
works.
ingredients, and
Yeah,
it sounds
uh,
like a real food
real food.
is an important part.
Movement, movement.
Thank you. Let's hear it.
I go to Pilates class every day. Um, when I've had surgeries, they ask, what do you want to get back to after surgery? They want you to think ahead as you're healing.
Mm,
And it's always, I want to go back to Pilates class. I want to get back to exercising
hmm.
um, because movement is so essential.
Yeah.
As I study the issues of aging and T1D, what comes up even without T1D for the super agers, it's connection and movement.
Oh,
Those are the two things that we
okay.
can do. We have the ability, and even if you don't feel well, you can do something. You can
Yeah.
walk around the house. You can do
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
those are
Weights while you sit on the couch. 2, 3 pound
mhm,
weights. Yeah. If you
mhm,
can't walk around the house, grab those weights. Yeah.
yeah. So it's that's real important. But the other is really connection, is
Mm,
community. What we've been trying to encourage people is join some group, a Zoom group, a local group.
mm,
They don't have to be diabetics. That's kind of nice if you have a few that you can resonate with, um, or start
hmm.
your own little buddy
Yeah.
group
Or, yeah,
because it's
find a,
people.
yeah.
Yeah,
And I mean, even if it's not people with diabetes,
doesn't
if
matter.
join a church. If church's not your thing, find a senior dance class. Find
Yeah,
something where there are other people that you'll relate to.
we just started taking mahjong lessons
Oh.
because I thought that'll help my brain stay active. And the first day of class, I went, I'll never get this. It's tons of tiles and images and new words,
Yeah.
and it's
But
been a
it's so
blast.
important. And everything
It's
about aging, regardless of diabetes, says doing those brain stimulating things is so important. So add diabetes to it, it's even more critical.
absolutely, yeah. It's
Yeah.
I don't always make the right decisions, but it's so much fun. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's it's fun to laugh, it's fun to be social, and it's fun to learn new stuff,
Can I
even if
ask
it's
you,
challenging.
how are your eyes and kidneys and fingers and toes today?
Oh, today? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have had eye issues. I've had laser treatments in 1990s when my blood sugars, I finally got them under better control
Yeah.
and had those bouts. But I ha- my vision is stable, my retina is stable.
Cool.
I've seen the pictures of my retina, and I don't recommend that for anyone because it's a little bit sobering when you see the laser treatment on the retina.
Mm.
But again, I'm grateful that they saved my vision
Yeah.
because that was always one of my absolute terrors. I would go to the retinologist and I would be in tears. I was just frightened.
Yeah.
Kidney dysfunction. My labs are not perfect, but we're managing it,
Yeah.
um,
I
and it's
mean,
been
to
stable.
be able to just say my labs are not perfect after 60 years with type 1, I mean, I wouldn't believe you if you said, "Oh no, my kidneys don't even look like I have diabetes." Right? Like that would be ridiculous,
I would,
especially for the first
yeah,
30 years of your life with diabetes with such
yeah,
limited
yeah.
medicine.
And there are people that don't have any of this,
Mm.
and that's wonderful too. I have digestive issues. I'm beginning to deal with some neuropathies.
Okay.
Um, I believe everyone, even without T1D, we're all on this journey, and it's kind of like
Yeah.
a bell curve. And so we're children, we develop, we run our lives, then we start
Yeah.
declining, and then we die. So I mean,
Yeah.
this is the life cycle,
This
and
is
it's a
it. Right. You
journey.
don't, yeah. My
And
best friend's grandmother has neuropathy and she doesn't even have diabetes.
yeah,
So
it's
there you go.
stuff happens,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the older you get, the more stuff that happens until it stops happening. So you kind of hope it doesn't stop happening
Yeah.
and that you feel as well as possible. And
Mhm.
that's where the resilience comes in. That's where
Mhm.
I'm dealing with a new issue today, and I mean, literally today after this call. And I don't know what the outcome will be. I don't know what new doctors are going to be added to my roster.
Okay.
Um, but I know that I'll deal with it as intelligently as possible, and
Hmm.
um, it'll be what it is. And it'll be better than it is in 10 years. So I'm
Hmm.
sure 10 years will be a little more challenging.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And all I'm hearing again is your mindset and that resilience and that kind of just, health is unrelenting, diabetes or not, and you're just going to face it, do what
hmm
you can,
hmm
and keep going.
and try to smile at it. I try
Yeah.
to see a sense of humor. There's got to be
Mm,
some quirky, offbeat way of looking at it.
yeah.
Um, even if it's a new device I have to get, now I get to learn a new device, but that's kind of cool. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
who knows? It's like being a
Oh,
science
oh my goodness,
experiment.
we haven't even hit on as we're hitting getting close to an hour here. We haven't even touched on your mission, your nonprofit that you've
Mhm.
started, volunteer organization,
Yep, not nonprofit, not even
not
set up as a
nonprofit, sorry,
business.
volunteer organization,
Yeah,
T1D to 100.com or .org?
.com.
.com. So
Mm-hmm.
T1D 2 meaning TO
Mm-hmm.
100.com.
Mm-hmm.
Tell
Yep.
me tell me what you're trying to do here.
About 5 or 6 years ago, it occurred to me that I was aging, and I was trying to figure out, because I'd had a couple of hospitalizations, how to get safe and be safe as I
Mm,
aged.
mm-hmm,
And I always tell people you should have an advocate, but then again, what happens if my advocate dies or
mm-hmm. Or is it
walks
movie?
out or whatever?
Yeah.
Um, And so I gathered a group of friends who were long-term T1Ds, and we sat at my dining room table and said, "What are we scared about?
Mm,
What do we think is going to happen, and what can we do about it? What
mm,
we know what the issues are." And we talked and talked, several meetings, and we kind of developed items of topics that were important. Then COVID hit. Then we came back to it, and so there are issues like, how do you be prepared? What's basic? I don't like to get surprised. I really don't. I kind of
Prepared
want to
for
have
what
a
though?
sense.
You can't prepare for everything.
No, but you can have a go bag so
Okay.
that if you have
Yeah.
to get out the door. We had a
Mhm.
friend in LA at T1D, and they knocked on his door and said, "You have a gas leak. Get out
Oh,
now."
oh, jeez.
And he called me and he said, "All my stuff's in the house,
Oh.
and my sensor is dying." And we got him a sensor.
Mm.
But if he had a go bag at the front door, he could grab it and go. It's not that difficult. So I have a cheat
Yeah.
sheet on the website that says, here's what you can put in your go bag. Here's some
Mm.
pictures of go bags. So you can do anything you want.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't do this, but it's simple enough to
Yeah.
just take that concern out of it. I
Yeah.
have a little, like I call a personal medical resume, all my medical information, my doctors, my advocates, how I take care of my
Mm.
diabetes.
Okay.
Um,
Where
I
do you keep
have
it
an,
though? So that, yeah, where
I
is it?
have one in my go bag. I have one in my
Okay.
car. I have one in my husband's car.
Okay.
And when I've been in the hospital, it sits on the nightstand and it
Okay.
says, I have type 1 diabetes in big red.
Mm.
I
Oh.
need insulin.
Mm.
Um, I also asked the hospital locally, can I have a wristband that says type 1 diabetes, similar to the paper bands that they give you that allergic to penicillin or
Mm-hmm.
fall risk? And I was told it would take 5 years to get through compliance to put wristbands on patients. And I said, fine, I will print them up myself. So
Yeah.
I made
Yeah.
500 for $75. I send them to
Oh
anybody
boy.
who wants one.
Oh.
And when last time I was in the hospital 4 months ago for a shoulder replacement, I told them in pre-op, I'm putting this wristband on just when you to see what it is. And they said, you don't need that. And I said, well, yeah, I kind of do. And then they went through the question. They said, I see you have type 1 diabetes. Do you need insulin? And I
I
said,
was
this
waiting
is
for
why I
that. I
have the
knew that's where
wristband.
this story was going. Yeah.
And I said, that's why I wear this. And anyone who walks in when I'm in the hospital, here it is. And
Mm-hmm.
teach them it
because
is not type 2, talk
yeah,
to
and you know
them.
what they'll do? They if they meet you just now, right? They'll assume, well, she's older, she must have type 2. Because only
Absolutely.
children get type 1 and children apparently don't grow up, right? So they'll
Yeah,
just assume you have type 2. Like, she doesn't need any insulin, she's in the hospital. I mean, it's super scary. So I don't
yeah.
blame you one bit for yeah.
So that's how you can be prepared. You
Hmm.
can put on your phone your emergency information. And so we have how to do that on Android phones and iPhones.
Cool.
Um, so we have cheat sheets. If you're going to have
Mhm.
surgery, here are the people you need to talk to. Here are the questions you need to ask.
Mhm.
So that's preparedness. Then there's where are you going to live?
Mhm.
Can you stay in your home? What if you're going to go into a retirement community? How do they treat people with T1D?
Yeah, that's
What
scary.
about assisted living? They
Mhm.
very often won't take you or they will charge you more.
Mhm.
So if you're trying to figure out your future, check your area, see what your options are so you at least have knowledge.
Yeah.
Um, your body changes. Yeah, your ability to handle hypoglycemia changes, your ability to digest food changes, your balance, your vision, your hearing, all of it.
Right. Your
Things
ability
change.
to dose your own insulin. I think to
It,
me that's if you said what's the most ultimate
mhm,
scary thing, it's I am no longer the one who can decide my insulin doses. That's
right,
scary. Now,
right.
hopefully, my best friend is locked up in this senior home with me, and we lied in my paperwork about having type 1, and we're confiscating insulin in all the time, and she's dosing my insulin. But that's
Well, I
otherwise, I
think
don't know what.
by then, and even at this point, there's technology, there are pumps
Yes.
that will work well enough, that will
Yes.
just
Well,
actually
and by
work
then,
well
I
enough.
mean, there's going to be,
Different.
whether we call it a
Yeah.
cure or not, there's going to be technology that just makes it so much
I'm
more.
watching the smart insulins. I'm so fascinated with that. The
Oh,
ones that turn on and turn off.
I'm very hopeful about a lot of things in T1D development and cure therapies and everything. But that smart insulin makes me mad because 20 years ago, when I was the editor of Diabetes Daily, I remember writing about smart insulin and then it vanished.
I know.
Nobody talked about it, right?
Nope.
And then I've interviewed one of the leading diabetes researchers on the planet, and I've said, "Where's the smart insulin?" And he described to me how complicated it truly is and why it's so far off from reality. I hate to pop anybody's bubble, but he
No.
said they're nowhere near it. What I think is more likely in our future, because it's already happening right now, is the things that are the manufactured insulin producing cells. So they know how to mass produce these.
Hmm.
And then they're transplanting these cells along with a mild immunosuppression therapy or the hypoimmune cells from another biotech company
Right.
where they don't even see your immune system. I think that's more likely what's going to be around the corner for us. But I have to even say, Zucara Therapeutics is they're developing, but it's already in clinical trial. We already know it's very effective in this investigational therapy.
Hmm.
A a once daily injection, but just like Ozempic, it'll probably eventually be a once a week injection that prevents hypoglycemia because it
Yeah.
restores the communication between our alpha cells and our
Hmm.
liver where all that
Hmm.
glucose is stored. So like imagine, the risk of lows is what everybody's afraid of, especially as you age
That's
and in
right.
senior homes and in the hospital. So imagine if we all had this guard, this armor from lows, I mean that's going
We'd
to
be safe.
relieve
We
so
would be
much of that
safe.
fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we want. We want to be safe
Yeah.
and feel as well as possible.
Mhm.
And how does that happen? It's all about being aware as we age what's out there and what's ahead of us and what we can
Yeah.
do about it and
Yeah.
be
And
prepared.
talking
So
to your doctor about what's out there because your doctor might not necessarily tell you about it. And especially as you
my
age.
doctor doesn't know.
No, thank you.
They
As
don't
you
know what
age,
to
they
do with
don't.
us. They
No.
don't know that we're different. They don't know
Mm.
that things have changed. And
Yeah.
I have a wonderful endo, and he said, "How are you?" And I said, "Struggling today, just struggling." And he said, "Oh, no, no, not you." And I said, "Yeah, yeah, me." And he said, "Sorry to hear that." And that was the last.
Hmm.
And I was asked at a conference, what did you want him to say? And I said, treat me like a human. If your friend said, I'm struggling today, would you say, sorry to hear that and just go right on? Or would you say, what's up? How do you feel? What's going
Right.
on?
Right.
Um, we are also, as we age, we're like children, but with the other end of the spectrum, and we're
Yeah.
not as cute as children. We are not a cute 10-year-old anymore.
Hmm.
So, and we have more complications. So we are less easy for a doctor to take care of.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes more time, and they're not
Mm-hmm.
compensated for the more time.
Mm-hmm.
So
They're also more likely, I've seen in watching my mother and my friend's grandmother, they're more likely also to be like, you know, she's old, she's fine. We don't want to bother her by telling her that her A1C is well into, you know, my mother's A1C qualifies her as a person with diabetes, but they're not going to do anything about it. Like,
yeah, yeah. It's
even though she's old, we don't want to, she's fine. She'll do fine.
yeah, it's my hope with T1D to 100 is help our community, my people, and then we're very aligned with researchers and the research community because they're the ones who can validate what
Mm-hmm.
our needs are and push it into standards of care and then educate the caregivers and the professionals who do not know. They just do not know. And because we weren't here before, but there are going to be a lot more of us. And
Mm-hmm.
that knowledge is
Yeah.
important. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the flow of information that I'm hoping we can push through.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah,
So T1D to 100.com. Everybody go over there and figure out what you got to put in your go bag, like right now.
absolutely. Join the
Yeah.
Facebook group. We're posting informational articles all the time. The researchers are asking us to poll the community on certain topics that they're interested in looking for funding or going for grants. And so they ask us questions. So we're very well connected into that community. So join us and we'll see if we can all get through this together.
Cool. Thank you, Joanne, for not
Thanks,
only
Katie.
just, you know, sharing your story, but also creating such a powerful resource that, you know, people of all ages, adult ages, can start thinking about.
I have to tell you, I've got parents of little kids joining the group because they want to
Hmm.
see what the future might look like. I'm going, it won't be, it'll be different.
It's gonna be
It'll
so
be, but
different.
they,
And they don't, but that, yeah, they don't know how much has changed in the 10 years before their young child was diagnosed,
yeah.
you know?
But it's just knowledge. It's
Yeah.
useful knowledge. So yeah,
Yeah.
come join
It
us.
also gives them hope because even though kids today are not told they are going to die at 40, parents, you know, you can't not worry about your child.
Absolutely.
And
Yep.
so it gives them
You
hope
bet.
to
You
see
bet.
you sitting there and smiling. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.